Right, in the studio with us today, we have Randy Mann from Great Lakes Land Company, who has created a development, and this is right up my listeners' alley because we all, to give you an overview of what's happened development-wise in the last 20 years here, is Great Guns from 2000 to 2008, and then nothing for the next 6 years, just nothing. And then slowly but surely, development has come back, and now there's a lot of development going on.
Holy Hannah, yeah.
And so because there's a lot, now you can see the creativity between one development and the next development.
Mm-hmm.
So, Randy, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning. Great to be here.
Yeah, he's got that.
Man,
listen to that radio voice. How about it?
Hey, back off.
All right. Get the hook out.
Yeah, that's just because I was out late last night, and I would have stayed later, except you passed me and said, you're supposed to be on the air at 8 o'clock. And I'm like, okay, thanks, Dad.
That happened like a couple months ago out at Lake Ann Brewing Company. I was all set to have a good time. There's Jack like, hey,
you.
Hey,
Yeah.
get
like
home right now.
I'm like, well, I'm out.
Yeah.
I told Randy, we're on the air at 8, so last drink at 7:30, okay?
Wah, wah, wah.
We have rules.
There are rules on this show.
Rules and standards.
That's
by the
right.
way. Yeah.
Standards. I didn't realize that was play yet. So, Randy, tell us a little bit about, tease us a little bit with the development, then let's talk a little bit about your background.
Sure. Well, Paradise Ranch is our newest development. I own Great Lakes Land Company and been doing this about 32 years. Came out here originally in 1990. Paradise Ranch is 1 mile south of the village of Kingsley. It's just down Garfield. You'd make a left if you're coming from Traverse City on Voice Road. And in 1 mile, we built a beautiful brand new blacktop road going up Summit City that used to be it looked like Sleeping Bear Dunes. You couldn't even get up with a four-wheel drive. It connects to the north, and then from the south, coming off of 113, a mile east of the blinking light in downtown Kingsley, you'd turn Summit City Road north off of M113, basically a mile, and it starts there. It's 240 acres, 76 lots, parcels as they would call it, and they're between 2 and 5 acres apiece. So,
and they're rolling hills. I mean, there are parts of this property that look like it could have been a ski hill back in the day.
Yeah, I was last week, Vic. We were out there, and you did a little calling with me. He was.
Right.
We were up on one of the top hills, lots 70 through 76, and it's the elevations are one of the things that attracted me most to this property, along with the hardwoods that hadn't been slaughtered by the timber companies. Now, we did timbering for the roads and the building sites and that sort of thing, but we left everything intact. And when you do that, and when you can find trees that took 100 years to grow, and we're talking about oak, maple, beech, birch, white pine, red pine, hemlock.
You got to say cherry.
Yeah, and cherry. That's right. And you know what? Cherry doesn't always exist. I mean, there's a lot of trees, like the last development we did out on Supply Road. If anybody's ever driven by that, we finished it last year, and that's called Woodland Trails. And that was 133 acres, and those were 5-acre minimums. That's predominantly oak, which is absolutely beautiful, but not a lot of these other trees. So the
variety.
Yeah, the variety and the mix of the hardwoods and along with the pine just make it really, really nice.
Yeah, very cool. So I was reading through the restrictions, so the rules for the development, and they're interesting rules. So people can have a separate garage, but it can't be more than 2,400 square feet. So this is not a case where people are going to build really nice houses and have to put up with a huge pole barn on the neighbor's property. But you do allow for the flexibility for people who want a small second accessory garage. Yes?
Yeah, and I have to put a caveat in there.
Will a caveat fit in 2,400 square feet? I don't even know what it is.
No, that's caviar. That's different. Okay,
Russian.
He's either drinking or food. I don't know what's with this guy. The reason that it's kind of a bit of a disclaimer in specifically in regards to that, you're talking about the pole building that is allowed in Paradise Township, where Paradise Ranch exists. And the township allows you to build an outbuilding, a pole building, a storage building, whatever it is. And so we allowed in our property restrictions. Then what I do is I put a couple of other things in there for people, flexibility to have basically a 2-on-1 where you can build a granny flat up to I think it's 900 square feet, and that would be an ADU, an auxiliary dwelling unit that is separately attached. Now the caveat is that currently Paradise Township is they're looking over, and I think the zoning administrator there has recommended that they amend their township zoning to allow separate auxiliary dwelling units. And this is good for people, especially in our properties where they're between 2 and 5 acres. Originally zoned residential, I think it's 1.
It's 1 acre.
And yeah, then go down to 1 acre. We didn't do that. So, we're really compliant in the spirit of what the zoning is, but it allows people to have that extra, call it a granny flat or, whatever they want.
Mother-in-law suite.
Yeah, mother-in-law suite. That's
room.
and that's and it's a growing trend across the United States. So we do that, but it's very flexible. We allow people to bring in a fifth wheel, a motorhome, and camp up to 6 months a year, and that's really great because a lot of our customers or clients that are buying these lots, we found are, either they're retired or they're close to retirement. They may be out of the state. They may not be just ready to build right away. So this gives them some flexibility. They can use the property.
Yeah. Also, you allow people to buy them and bring their RV, but not permanently.
Correct. Yeah, it's not a mobile home park. And I think, it's I'm a great believer in self-government, self-governing. I really don't like too many what they would call covenants and restrictions and rules that are so confined, like you got to paint your mailbox pink or something like that.
Yeah.
And there's different applications for different types of developments. If you're doing what I would call a high density subdivision where you're on a whatever quarter of an acre or less, you need to be a little tighter on that sort of stuff. I like to have a little bit of acreage. I like people to self-govern. I think by the nature of the pricing, this is not, starter home kind of pricing. This is for people that are maybe second or, they're looking to retire, but they want to have a little bit more land. We're getting a lot of people from Traverse City and the immediate areas and, beyond, even out of the state, not just downstate, but people that are looking to be up in the region, as you know. And people even from Traverse City that just needs a little more room. They got a boat, they got some toys, or maybe they just want to get out in the country and have more rural living. This does that.
And you're not more than from that location. You're not more than 15 minutes from the Cherryland Mall.
Yeah, right.
Or the airport.
Yeah. We're right down. I mean, I clocked it from I think it was from South Airport Road in Garfield. And I think I was 11 miles to our development, which, you put a few miles on that, you're downtown Traverse City. It's very convenient to the airport. There's a lot of people that are going to be flying in that are going to have homes out there. So it's very good for people out of town. And then you got Costco. That's where I go.
Costco, but don't forget, you can stop in at the Cherryland Mall, get yourself a snake and a tattoo. No?
All on the same trip?
Yeah, I think
Perfect.
so.
I'll take one tattoo and one snake, please.
I knew this was going to be fun this morning. Not that all the other interviews. I was on Omelet and Rick show, and I've done all that stuff. But believe me, I was worried about you.
A lot of people are.
Well, good idea.
A history major. All right, that's good. What are the price ranges? Where's the low? Where's the high?
Well, we
Sounds
start
like the 70s or the prime property.
Yeah, well, the we do have a few of the 2 acre lots, and also that's a little bit of a misleading thing because 2 acres up on top of the hill, like Vic and I were talking about, it's one of my most expensive properties, or the ones that cost more because of all the work we had to do to clear the trees and
view.
Plus the view. Yeah, you're paying for view, just like if you're on a lakefront. You don't go and go, this is 3 acres out here.
I'm not getting enough water.
I'm not getting enough water. Yeah. So they start at $74,900. They go up to about $250,000. The average And let's back up here just a second. When you take 240 acres, you divide that by 76 lots.
Yeah.
You come up on an average at about 3.2. So those are really overall of that acreage. Really, I think, really a nice amount of acreage. I lived on one of my developments, Alden Meadows up in Alden, for 10 years. I did that in 97. And I had 3 acres. I was like, no, I got my lawn around here, and the rest of it, my dog can go out and do his thing. And,
yeah. 3 acres is a lot of land.
So we start 74.9. I would say the average price is just over 100, 110 as looks, and that's what the appraisals are coming in at. We do work with. I'd love to give a shout out to Lake Michigan Credit Union. I know they're one of your sponsors. They're absolutely excellent. I would recommend them to anybody that's buying land anywhere in the state of Michigan. They're fantastic. Their underwriting is sensible. They get through deals on land deals, which not all banks do, within about 30 days. Now, I'm sure that they're cringing when they hear me say this, but that's the truth. That's the experience I've had, and I've sent many of my clients to them, and they do a great job.
Yeah, fascinating. So, when did you begin rolling these out?
Well,
are we just beginning rolling them out?
Yeah, well, we actually have closed 10, and we have 1 now in escrow, so we have 11 that are off the market. So we have 65 left available. Elmer's just finished the paving of our last road last week. I mean, Vic, you saw it. I mean, it was fresh.
Right, very fresh.
Cherryland Electric with their installer showed up last week. They've got all the equipment up there, and then the hurricane hit. So I think it's CC Power out of Kalkaska. They're down in Florida, so it's going to be probably a month before they get back on. But we're going to have underground electric. We're going to have high-speed internet. We're waiting for Charter or Spectrum to give us their final on everything, but they say that it's going to be fiber optic. That is state-of-the-art stuff.
Wow.
Super high speed. DTE Energy is we're hopeful for them to be in with natural gas.
So it's going to be natural gas now?
It is. Yep. Now we're water, wells, and septic. So again, we have the acreage to do, and it's all sand out there. I mean, it's no problems perking and all that stuff. So.
Fabulous. Good stuff. Hey, a listener texted me and said, will Paradise do a land contract with a large down payment?
Yes.
Oh, very good. Very good. So,
although I would like to put another caveat. It's not something you put on a cracker, okay?
No.
All right. A lot of times.
Don't call me a cracker. Don't come on the show.
Cracker, Uncle Cracker over here. A lot of times people don't realize what their credit score or what they can really do, and I do send them to Lake Michigan Credit Union, and we've done that. I'm happy to take a land contract, but the terms and all that stuff, if you can get approved and financed for a land loan from like Lake Michigan Credit Union, they're wonderful to work with. Again, is better terms. So
we're heading back. So now interest rates are approaching 7 now, which 7 months ago they were at 3. So there has been a huge rise. We're getting back to the stage where land contracts didn't exist for the last 20 years. The interest rates were so low that anybody who needed a land contract, that was all sorts of red flags.
Right.
But now it's becoming a choice for both the buyer and the seller, where you say, hey, would you take 6% on a land contract? So a lot of sellers are in the situation where they're like, yeah, I certainly wouldn't get 6% in bonds, and right now the stock market doesn't look like a 6% return either. So it is something that's beginning to awake again. We'll see how much it awakes as we go forward.
I think, and not to interrupt you, but a tag along that, for many years, and there's a lot of investors now that are coming forward that want to hold land contracts because of what's going on. So it's also on the on the financing side, personal wealth advisors and stuff like that. Of course, they always push a lot of different things like the stock market and all that stuff. But with the stock market kind of doing what it's doing, holding a land contract on real estate, depending upon the terms and all that stuff, and the strength,
and how much you get down.
Right.
You take that big chunk down and then pray that they don't finish out the rest of the contract.
Exactly. Well, you just on land, of course, it's real easy. It's not like a house where the, roof's going to fail or they're not going to run down the road with with stuff. So land, if they don't do it, then, for an investor, they just turn around and resell it again.
There it is, yeah. All right, so that's Randy Mann with Great Lakes Land Company.